for this week, so if you're stuck, this hopefully can help you out. Here's the first one. Kevin bought 3 books about animals, 5 books about outer space, and 2 books about trains. Each book cost $17. How much did Kevin spend on the books? Let me read it one more time. And how much did Kevin spend on the books? Okay. So he bought 3 animal books, 5 books about outer space, and 2 books about trains. Each book cost $17. How much did Kevin spend on the books? So the first thing I think I need to figure out is how many books did he have altogether? So I have 3 animal books, 5 outer space books, and 2 train books. So if I add those together, Kevin had a total of 10 books. So he had 10 books, and each of those books cost $17. So I'm thinking in my head that if I have 10 books and each cost $17, that'll give me the amount that he spent on all the books altogether. So, on my paper, we know that it was $17 for each book. I mean, $17 for each book, and he has 10 books. So we're doing 17 times 10 to figure out this answer. Well, we can do our rule of 0 here if we wanted to, which is, we have a 0 to the right, which means we can do 1 times 17, and then add our 0. Well, 1 times 17 is 17. With a 0, it's going to give us 170. So he spent $170 on all those books. And if you noticed, even as an adult, I read that problem 2 times in little parts of the problem, probably more than twice. Let's go to the next one. Whitney has 12 white buttons. She has 4 fewer brown buttons than white buttons. Whitney has 20 more gray buttons than brown buttons. How many buttons does Whitney have in all? So I need to figure out how many white buttons, brown buttons, and gray buttons she has. Let me read it one more time. Whitney has 12 white buttons. We know she has 12 white buttons. I'm going to write that down right now. She has 12 white buttons. I'm going to put a little W over here so that stands for white. She has 12 white buttons. She has 4 fewer brown buttons than white buttons. So she has 12 white buttons, and she has 4 less brown buttons, or 4 fewer is what it says, 4 fewer brown buttons. Well, it's going to be 12 minus 4 to figure out how many brown buttons she has. So for the brown buttons, I do 12 minus 4, which is going to give us 8. So she has 8 brown buttons. Go read it again. She has 12 white buttons. We know that for sure. She has 4 fewer brown buttons than white buttons, which means she has 8 brown buttons. We figured that out. Whitney has 20 more gray buttons than brown buttons. Okay, now let's figure out how many gray buttons she has. It's not 20, it's 20 more gray buttons than brown buttons. So she has 8 brown buttons. So, and she has 20 more gray buttons. So that means she's going to have 28 gray buttons. 28 gray buttons. And let's go to the problem. So, Whitney has 20 more gray buttons than brown buttons. We figured out that was 28 gray buttons. How many buttons does Whitney have in all? So that word in all means we need to add all those together. So now we go over here. We have 12 white buttons, 8 brown buttons, 28 gray buttons. So, now 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 28 gives us 48 buttons in all. Or you could always do 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 8 is 18. Carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 is 4. So it gives 48 either way. So in all, she has 48 buttons altogether. And as you see, both of those problems, as an adult, I had to read them more than one time and read specific parts of the problem more than one time to figure out the information I was looking for. Hopefully, if you are doing the same problem and you're confused, you can see how I figured it out to help yourself out. Alright, I hope this helps.